Hello YouTube land, how is everybody doing today? Hopefully great. Are you ready for another fireside chat? I know it's been a little while and, well, I got an interesting one for you. How I beat an Olympic champion in trap shooting. So pull up a rock, a chair, grab some s'mores, and let's sit next to the fire. So on this one, I'm going to backtrack a little bit to some history to build up to this story. And this is information that, well, you probably need to know to understand this fireside story. So I pulled up Wikipedia, and it says shooting at the 1968 Summer Olympics mixed trap. And here's what it says. The trap was a shooting sport event held as part of the shooting at the 1968 Summer Olympics program. The competition was held on the 18th and 19th of October of 1968 at the shooting ranges in Mexico City. 55 shooters from 34 nations competed. For the first time, the event was open to women as well as men, though none competed. Nations were limited to 2 shooters each. The event was won by Bob Braithwaite of Great Britain, the nation's first victory in the event and first medal of any color in the trap since 1908. Silver went to Thomas Garrigus of the United States. Kurt Chekala of East Germany took bronze. It was the first medal in the event in East Germany as a separate nation, and the first medal of any German trap shooter since 1912. So there's a little history of the 1968 Summer Olympics mixed trap shooting right there. Now, here's a little history on Tom Garrigus, who was the United States Olympic silver medalist for trap shooting in 1968. Tom Garrigus grew up in Tualatin River in Oregon. His was an idyllic boyhood of boating, fishing, hunting, and shooting at the local gun club with his dad. Tom's dad helped him shoot his first clay target at a very young age. Tom took it and became a first-class shooter. Tom began shooting trap in 1955, joining his dad on the line. Don was a founding member of Hillsborough Track and Skeet Club, where Tom was later a director. Tom went on and won the state junior title a second time in 1964 and winning it the first time in 1962. He served in the U.S. Air Force from 1965 to 1969. He was in the Air Force's Marksmanship Training Unit, stationed at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, when he earned a berth on the 2-man trap shooting team for the 1968 Olympic Games in Mexico City, where Tom won a silver medal, the highest finish of a U.S. individual in this event since 1920. For the 1996 Games in Atlanta, he had the honor of running a leg of the Olympic torch relay in Salem, Oregon. He and wife Jackie were referees at the Games that year. Between 1969 and 1976, he earned nearly 30 awards at the Grand American, including industry titles in the 1974 Clay Target Championship, 1970 doubles, 1972 and 74 Grand American Handicap, 1970, 72, 73, and 74 all-around, 1972, 73, and 74 high overall, and 1973 Singles Class Championship, and 1973 Preliminary Handicap. Tom was a salesman most of his life and represented Ithaca, Perazzi, and Krieghoff. He was most appreciative of his role as assistant shotgun coach and U.S. shooting team from 1992 to 2002. And later, Tom was inducted into the Trap Shooting Hall of Fame. Okay, now we'll jump forward to, well, my part in this whole thing. In 1978, I had bought a brand new Remington 1100 semi-automatic 12-gauge shotgun from where I worked. At that time, I was working for a sporting goods store in the Portland metropolitan area, And, well, I got a really good deal on this shotgun. And so I went ahead and bought it, filled out all the paperwork, and at the time there was a little bit of a waiting period before you could take the gun home. I was able to pick up the shotgun after work one night. I was closing that night. I got off at 9:30, and my boss and a real good friend told me, hey, let's go to the local skeet shooting club. It's open until 2:30 in the morning. We can just swing by my house, grab my shotgun. We can book on over to the shooting range, and you'll be able to shoot your gun for the first time and check it out. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I was all in. I got this brand new shotgun. I wanted to try it out. So we drive all the way out there and expecting, we just pay our money and be able to shoot. But unfortunately, there was a skeet shooting contest going on that night. And, well, the only way I was going to be able to shoot my shotgun was to go ahead and compete in this skeet shooting contest. Now, up to this point, I had never shot at any clay pigeons or skeets or any of that. I had only shot at ducks, geese, doves, quail, pheasant, but no clay pigeons. And, well, I wasn't really expecting to win or do any good. I just figured, well, I'll be able to shoot my gun, and hey, that's what I came here for. And if I have to compete to be able to do that, I would. The first round were 2 skeets being fired off, going away from you, straight away from you, and you only get 2 shots to shoot at them, and everybody was in single file, and each person would take a turn, and it wound up it was my turn. So I say pull, the 2 skeets fire out, and I go to pull the trigger, and my safety's on. Now, no big deal, but the problem was this was a brand new shotgun, and I didn't know where that safety was. I had to physically pull my shotgun down, look around the trigger to see where the safety was, push the safety, put the shotgun back up to my shoulder, and I fired the 2 shots. By then, those 2 skeets were so far out there, and I figured, man, I'll never hit them. But bam, bam, knocked both of them down. And I remember everybody that was in the line looking, leaning forward and looking down to see, wow, who was that person that just took that shot? Now, I was young and I was foolish and probably a little bit of a brat and not really thinking what I was going to say. And, well, the words that came out of my mouth was, wow, this is easy. I've never done this before. I'm just out here to shoot my brand new shotgun that I've never fired before. And it was easy because I was used to shooting at doves and stuff that are moving up and down and you don't know what direction they're going to head. As these clay pigeons, they go one direction, one speed. And for me, it was kind of easy. But here are all these older men with their vests on, with all their patches and stuff for competing. And, well, they really didn't like what I had to say. And if I was older and wiser, I would have never said those words. But I was young and stupid. And, well, I didn't make any friends. I can say that. So you would just keep going on. There'd be different rounds. And if you failed a round, that was it. And I kept moving on and moving on and moving on. Not really understanding the whole scope of the whole thing. I just was shooting my gun. That's all I cared about. That's all I was thinking about. And, well, maybe that was a good thing because I didn't have any pressure on me. I didn't really understand the whole grasp of the whole thing. Had I been there knowing what this was all about and the whole meaning behind it, who knows, I probably would have been nervous and I'm sure I probably wouldn't have done as well as I did. But I advanced all the way to the final round and there were only 5 guys that did that. And, well, this is where it got hard. You had 2 skeets that came from both sides of you and they would cross right in front of you. And you only had 1 shot, and you had to time your shot to hit when those skeets would intersect with each other. And if you timed it right, you could shoot your shotgun and put both of them down. Now, that had nothing to do with hunting. I had never been in that position, never had that kind of a shot. And, well, there's where my inexperience showed up because I could only get 1. But it put me in 4th place. And by doing so that night, it put me 1 spot ahead of the 1968 silver medal winner in trap shooting, Tom Garrigus. Now, at that moment in time, I didn't know who he was. And, well, nobody was really talking to me. They were a little angry with me. And I just grabbed my shotgun, grabbed my prize, and we drove home. And, well, to be honest with you, I never thought about it again until I crossed paths with Tom Garrigus. Jump forward a couple of years. I had quit the job that I was working at the sporting goods store, and I went to work for another sporting goods store. And, well, Tom Garrigus happened to be the assistant manager there. And, well, he remembered me. One night, I was closing the store with him, and we had some time to talk in between customers, and he reminded me of that night. He said, "Yeah, I remember you. You were the kid with the brand new shotgun that competed in the trap shooting contest in Hillsboro, and you beat me by one place." Then I remembered who he was. I'm like, oh man, here I am. He's my boss, and here I was, a smart ass, and not really trying to be a smart ass, but it came out that way. And I just remember apologizing. I'm sorry, I was just really excited to, to shoot my gun, and I'd never done this before, and, I'm sure it kind of appeared that I was being kind of egotistical or whatever. And he said, "Yeah, well, you didn't make a whole lot of friends that night." And, well, I knew that. And he said, "Doug, you have talent. Not many people beat me." And I said, "Thank you." And that was really all that we said about it. And still not realizing that he was a former silver medal Olympic winner. It wasn't after, several weeks or so that somebody at work had mentioned it. And I was like, "What? He did what?" I can honestly say that I was in shock, really. I think that I had beginner's luck that day, and I think if I went out and did it again, I probably wouldn't have fared as well as I did the first time. Though I do know that I would have advanced fairly far because I was and still am a good shot. I always have been. And, well, what was kind of funny was a certain person who sits in a recliner chair all the time claiming that she was a better shot than me. And I would always just laugh because, yeah, okay. Sometimes when people open their mouths, they really make a fool of themselves. Kind of basically what I did that night, opening my mouth saying, "Wow, this is really easy." But Tom and I became good friends. He was a joy to work with. I always had a lot of respect for the man. He was chock full of information and everything. He knew hunting and fishing very well. Other than bass fishing, that's where I had him, but still had salmon fish, and he was a walking book of knowledge. And, well, unfortunately, I had heard that he had passed away in December of 2006 at the age of 60. Tom went to the same high school that I did, grew up in the same town that I did, really doing the same things that I did, but a lot earlier than me because he was older than me. And I often think that if we would have been in the same age and stuff, we probably would have been really close friends, just for the simple fact that we had a lot of things in common. And, well, folks, that's the story of how I beat Tom Garrigus in skeet shooting, the former 1968 silver medal winner. And I wear that with a badge of honor. I did not at the time, but I do now, and I have for some time. Anyway, the fire's going out. We better pack up the chairs and the rocks and, well, get back inside because it's getting a little chilly out here. You guys have a great one, and talk to you later.